Hey, good afternoon from the recording studios here at One Family Church. So good to be with you. I want to share some words today, and hopefully we can do this on a weekly basis. Words of encouragement, practical things that can help our lives both individually and as families. Today I want to talk about healing the environment at home. Healing the environment at home. What happens in your house or my house when unexpected things come along? I think all of us have to deal with that sometimes daily. I love the Bible. In Psalm 133, it paints a picture by saying, look how good and pleasant it is when brothers live together in harmony. Brothers is not only referring to spiritual brothers, but brothers and sisters, mom and dad, family. How pleasant and good it is when we can live in harmony. And then it says that will be like an oil that comes down on our head, and even like a dew on the grass. It's something that heals. It's something that refreshes. And God says in a place like that, His blessing just flows. I had a funny experience this week at home. On Wednesday, after breakfast, I'm even helping occasionally cook, not a lot, but occasionally. So I said, well, I'll make some beans. You know, beans are always good. So I put a pot of beans on, and jalapeno and some garlic, and they were coming along really good. And then I realized I needed to be in my office for a Zoom meeting. So I went over to my office right there on the other side of the house and had the Zoom meeting. Took about an hour, got on the phone, did some other stuff. About 2 hours went by, and all of a sudden I realized the beans. So I went into the kitchen and it smelled like burnt beans. And I called Olga. I said, my beans. And she said, no, your beans are already in the backyard. They already burned. The beans that were burning on the stove were Olga's second try, because my beans had burned. She took them out to the backyard and she made another one, and she forgot about her beans. So we took her beans out in the backyard, and there we stood, both of us, looking at 2 pots of burned beans. Now I can say years ago, if that would have happened, we would have probably gotten tense with each other and had some tough words, because we didn't always know how to handle these situations. But this time we looked at each other and we gave each other a hug. We asked each other forgiveness. I asked forgiveness for my burnt beans and she for her burnt beans, and we laughed about it and went in and had a different lunch. How were we able to do that? Well, for 30 years, we've practiced something called forgiveness. In our house, we've messed up a lot as a couple, and even sometimes we've hurt our kids with words we say. But after 30 years, we now are graced with a great atmosphere. It's because anytime something happens, we don't worry about whose fault it is. We just practice this simple thing, asking each other forgiveness. And there's a lot of verses that talk about it, but in James 5:16 it says, if we confess our offenses one to another and pray, we will be healed. And I really want to encourage everyone. It's such a simple thing, but sometimes some people, when they get upset, they scream. Others hold it all on the inside, but it's not screaming or holding it all in. It's being obedient by the power of the Holy Spirit to come together as a family and say, I am so sorry, I messed up, and praying together. And if you do that, the healing power of God begins to change the environment, the atmosphere in your home. One more story that I think really teaches this way better than I can. It's from my friend Henry Limlin. He's a young man of 88 years old, and he tells a story about something that happened in his house when he was about 8 years old. We're talking about the years of the Great Depression. Him and his brother were fighting with pillows and just messing around in their living room when one pillow flew and broke the window, their big window in their living room. And when the mom heard that, she came running over, all upset. Remember, in the Great Depression, a big window was expensive and hard to get replaced. She screamed at Henry and his brother and said, when Dad gets home, you guys are going to get it. Sure enough, Dad came home and they got it. Well, that night, there they were sitting at the at the table eating supper, and it was silence. No one said a word. You could feel the tension. All of us go through moments where it's tense in our home. But in the middle of the tension, Henry's father started to talk, and he spoke directly to the boys. He said, "Boys, what you did was wrong. However, I punished you guys with a lot of anger, and I want to apologize. I shouldn't punish you with anger." Well, when he apologized, immediately the two boys said, "No, Dad, it was our fault. We're so sorry for what we did, and we'll work and we'll help you fix that window." And in the middle of that, the mom said, "I'm so sorry I let my frustration get a hold of me. I'm so sorry about screaming at you the way I did." They asked each other forgiveness. The dad said a short prayer asking God to forgive them as a family. And within a minute or two, there they were again, laughing together and talking. And the whole atmosphere of the home changed because they asked each other forgiveness and they prayed to God, and God healed the atmosphere in their home. That can be your atmosphere and my atmosphere in our homes. It is wonderful when we humble ourselves and we're not concerned about whose fault it is. We only want to be obedient, asking each other forgiveness and asking God to forgive us and heal our homes. If you do that, God's going to take your home and you'll be able to say, our home is good and pleasant, and God's going to send the oil of His Holy Spirit and the dew that brings fresh life, and He's going to make your home a wonderful place. God bless you.